So I talk about preppers quite a bit. Preppers always trying to convince people to spend money, spend money, spend money. I just watched a video today. You gotta go out and spend some more money. The same prepper, 10 minutes before he made the video about spending money on a piece of equipment, said you gotta go out and spend money today on gold and silver. And they just constantly tell you to spend money so you can be prepared for SHTF. Stuff hits the fan. I, on the other hand, I'm just trying to live a dream. Build a little tiny house and live off firewood and be a minimalistic. People come to my channel and says, you're a prepper. And I'm not a prepper. I don't know what I'm prepared for. I mean, I feel like I could handle most situations. The power goes out, I don't even notice. Tornado comes to the area. There is a shelter that I can go into. I can go in that. But if tornado comes and wipes me out, then what did I prepare for? I got all this food storage and I've got the tiny house and it's all wiped out. So then I say stuff that preppers never say. We're debt free. So a tornado comes and wipes us out, I can literally just rebuild. It's not a big deal. But that's not considered prepping. You gotta buy gold. Well, I don't know why I need to buy gold. I could just be debt free. Watch my spending habits. Carolyn and I just don't spend money. It's all an addiction. Spending money, living a big lifestyle, living a normal lifestyle. Everything is wrapped around addictions. We know that spending money is an addiction. People have to feel good and it produces endorphins. You go out and buy a new car. I'm just as guilty to go out and buy a new car. Oh man, that good feeling for about a month, maybe two. And then after a little while, that feeling starts to die down and then you're kind of chasing it again. Except now you're in debt. And instead of just realizing that you should have never bought the car in the first place, figure out how to get away from the addiction, repair the car you got. Oh, you can't repair cars. That just runs up more of a bill than just going out and buy another one. Well, that's just not true. You go out and buy a new car, you got the interest and all the fees, and it's just you're constantly chasing it. I could replace an engine in my vehicle a lot cheaper than I can go out and buy a new car. But you'll never convince people of that. These preppers have a solution for everything that's not a solution. And so the other day I was watching a video and he was talking about being mentally prepared. Says it's cold outside and I don't want to go out and do anything. He says when SHTF hits, when it happens, you're going to have to be out in that cold. You're going to have to be out there working and doing things and you're just going to have to start to get tough. You're going to have to be toughen up. Here in the United States, we're not tough. A lot of people suggested, including this prepper, that you got to have air conditioner. And they were talking about how to hide your air conditioner, your central air, so nobody will see it and hear it. And I kept asking, well, how are you going to run it? That's a lot of electricity. And in an SHTF situation, if you're so worried about people seeing your air conditioners and hearing your air conditioner, if you had that many solar panels on top of your house or in your yard to run it, wouldn't you think that people would see the solar panels? So when I made a video like that, people said, well, you need to camouflage your solar panels so nobody can see it. It's okay, you're going to put covering over your solar panels so nobody can see the solar panels, but the solar panels need sun. Why are you going out all that expense for something that may or may not happen? If you're going to be mentally prepared, it seems to be that you need to be mentally prepared all year long. There are things that I've learned about myself living this life. I remember when we were nomads, we were setting up to be nomads, and my big thing was toiletries. I had to figure out a way to have a toilet in a pop-up camper because I just didn't want to use those privies. They call it privies, but it's, you know, those outhouses you see at the National Forest and conservation areas. They just disgust me. I was just so disgusted by it. But over time, I learned, well, I can clean it and, you know, wear gloves when I clean it. Over time, I even got to where I was cleaning the privies because you stay there for 2 weeks. Once a day, I just go out there and clean it just to be cleaning it. I figured I was taking ownership of it, clean it up. Maybe other people would treat it a little bit nicer. Mentally, I had to change my mindset about bathrooms and how to use a bathroom because we didn't have a toilet like a normal house. I could call the regular toilet in a house an addiction. I was addicted to the idea of comfort. But people have been going to the bathroom out in the woods and different things for generations, for all of human history. But I couldn't seem to do it. If SHTF were to happen and you no longer had a toilet, Could you? And I know somebody's going to come and say, oh, I could do it, no problem. Okay, but there's about a zillion things that I need to cover here. So bear with me while we get through these things. I know that there are going to be people that say that, oh, I did that when I was a child. We had an outhouse as a child. I had an outhouse as a child also. And I didn't like it then, and I didn't like it when I got older. It was something that I had to change my mindset to. So by saying, oh, I didn't have this when I was a child, you have it now, and you are addicted to it now. All the things that I'm going to cover today. Last summer, I was talking about the air conditioning. Well, here it gets up to, 100 degrees, 90, 100 degrees. Yeah, I know it's not Florida, but if you live in Florida, people lived in Florida without air conditioning. I mean, all those old movies, Mississippi, southern states, it gets hot down there, but they didn't have air conditioning. How did they manage? But we can't today. I made a comment just recently on a prepper, and they were talking about being mentally prepared. And I commented, I said, so it's okay to be mentally prepared for winter, but when it's summertime, we got to have air conditioning. And so someone said, well, it's easier to put on clothes in the wintertime than it is to take off clothes in the summertime. There's only so many clothes you can take off. Well, if you're in an SHTF situation, you may not have that many clothes as it is. And the other thing people don't realize is more people die from winter exposure than they do summer exposure. There is a real simple solution to summer exposure. It's called water. Drink it. Your body is designed to cool itself. But you get cold, there's no way to warm yourself up. You get wet and cold and you go into hypothermia. The only way to warm yourself up is build a fire. But you can cool yourself down in the summer. Get under a shade tree, relax, you'll be fine. So our house is under all those shade trees. We never had air conditioning. Now, to me, winter is tough, whereas Carolyn can deal with winter a lot better than I can. Now, summertime's just the opposite. She struggles through the summer, and I have an easier time in the summer. But we both have been able to adapt and get away from the addiction of air conditioning. Somebody's going to say, oh, I didn't have air conditioning when I was a kid. I know what you're talking about. I didn't have air conditioning as a kid either, but when I grew up, I did. And I got addicted to it. It was a comfort. And so it's another thing that you got to figure out how to break yourself of. What we did, and I don't know if this really helped us, but when we were nomads, and everybody thought we were nuts, but it was probably the best thing we ever did. We went to the desert of Utah in August. It was miserably hot. 105, 110 degrees, that dry heat, they all talk about that dry heat. You didn't have any sweat in your shirt, but when you stood up from your chair, you could see the salt that has evaporated from your body. It just clung to the chair or to your shirt or whatever. But we spent 2 weeks at one spot and 2 weeks in another spot, so 4 weeks. And we made it. Drink water. People say, oh, you can't drink that much water. Water poisoning. It takes an enormous amount of water to be water poisoned. You'd be uncomfortable drinking that much water. And as long as you're drinking some sort of electrolyte, and I'm not saying go out and buy Gatorade, I'm saying you got some salt or sugar, that's your electrolytes. What that is if you drink so much water that you're going to perish from it, you're diluting your synapses. So your body can't send out electrical signals anymore. But when you put salt in it, now your body is able to transmit electrical currents. You may have done this experiment when you were in science class in high school. You get distilled water and it's non-conductive. Electricity doesn't transfer through it. But you put a little salt in it and all of a sudden it becomes conductive. So what happens is the electric companies and the power companies and the oil companies and all these people are trying to convince you not to drink water so you will stay in your air conditioning building instead of doing what we've been doing for generations. Drink water. A lot of this has to do with money. The other day I got a comment in the comment section that said, how do you just eat eggs? Because as you know, Carolyn and I are carnivores. We eat meat. Well, I couldn't eat that many eggs. What do you do to flavor your eggs? How do you cook them? And they want to have a recipe. Well, when you start having recipes, that means you're putting things into your body that we don't want to put in. We want to be carnivores. So what do we put in it? Well, sometimes maybe ham, but not often, because ham we have to go out and buy. Occasionally we'll have some bacon, but we don't put that in with our eggs. Occasionally we'll get some cheese. See, all these are meat items. But you want to be careful eating cheese. You can get processed cheese. You don't want that. Carolyn and I was talking about this. When we first started eating just eggs, or eating a large quantity of eggs, we did get tired of eggs. And again, it's the addiction to foods. If you look at the back of a package of the food you buy from the store, ice cream even, anything, there are words on the back of that package you cannot pronounce. That is garbage. It is bad for you. Don't eat it. If you think about human history, humans were eating meat, primarily just meat, for most of the beginning of human history. Then they started eating some vegetables, so then they became not just hunters, but then hunter-gatherers. So if you look at the progression of things, meat has been eaten by humans the longest. So humans are adapted to eat meat. Well then, a few million years later, whatever it was, they started eating vegetables. So your body's kind of adapted to it, but vegetables are still poisonous. All vegetables create a poison that causes inflammation. Well then about 5,000 years ago, they introduced grains into our diet. Wheat, corn, all that stuff, because it was easy to store. So then we went from being hunter-gatherers to farmers. Well, your bodies are not adapted to that. It's carbohydrates. Your body does not want sugar. There will be people in the comment section that completely disagree with that, but the science is becoming more clear every day. In the last 3 years, they've made huge discoveries about sugar. Carbohydrates turn into sugar in your body, which comes from wheats and corn and grains, so they don't want it. Well, then about 100 years ago, they started taking all these grains and they started processing it, making canola oil and all that. Well, when you start messing with the oils in vegetables and you heat them up, they make bad cholesterol. We all know that now, but for 40 years, they told us that's better than eating fat. Well, now they're learning, no, that was wrong. Now we're going back to basically eating what we were eating originally. Meat. That's what science is starting to figure out all over again. But you are convinced that you need to eat these carbs, processed foods, so you are addicted to eating this stuff. And these companies know it. I just watched a video from a guy who used to work at Coca-Cola, and their goal is to make you addicted to the sugar. Sugar is very addictive. It's just about as addictive as tobacco and those harsh drugs that we hear about all the time. I don't want to mention them on YouTube, but you'll get the idea. We know that tobacco is addictive, but when we say sugar, oh no, that's not addictive. We need sugar. Well, your body is telling you you need sugar because you're addicted to sugar. Just like when I was smoking, I was convinced that tobacco was not bad for me. And I don't feel like I'm a dumb person, and I was just convinced that I was being lied to about tobacco. But then when I got off of it, my brain changed somehow. It understood what was wrong with it. Whereas before, my brain just would not register that information. It was just like, wow, how did I not understand that before? And this was like within a year. It wasn't like, it took me decades to figure this out. The same with sugar. So the reason you cannot eat a only diet of eggs is because you are addicted to sugar. Your body is telling you, no, I got to have variety. I can't be bored. Because your body is being tricked into believing it has to have certain things. It's an addiction. So this person wrote me and said, I can't eat that many eggs. You're going to have to tell me how to store eggs. No, I don't have to tell you how to store eggs. I need to tell you how to be healthy. Get off the addictions. If you wrote me and said, you're going to have to tell me how I can stay on cigarettes, that would be irresponsible of me. And it's irresponsible for me to tell you how to store eggs when you should be eating just the eggs. If you want to harden yourself for SHTF, you need to start now, because you're not going to be able to get off the addiction during SHTF. If you can't just eat eggs now, what makes you think you can just eat eggs during SHTF? No, you're going to have cravings. You're going to be going through withdrawals during the toughest time of your life. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to over my other channel. I hope I can inspire you to break the addictions, all of them, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.